Welcome to
Oh,
40's Impact Series, where we speak to founders and CEOs who shine a light on companies out there using technology to solve climate issues and generally doing good things in the world. Today I'm here with Nils Söderström. He's the CEO and founder of RenBloc. If you'd like to give us a short intro, and obviously thanks for being with us today, Nils.
well, thank you for having me, Jack. As I said, Nils Söderström, founder and CEO of Swedish energy tech startup RenBloc. We're in what we call the energy transparency field, where we want to sort of give people a better understanding of how and when they consume their energy and what impact that has on the environment.
Okay, brilliant, excellent. If you could tell us, a bit more in detail the climate issue that you're looking to tackle.
Well, I've been in the energy field for quite some time, and so has my co-founder. And we founded the company around the issue that we see that energy emissions, or emissions from energy production, is by far the largest source of emissions that we have today. And yet there's a lot of confusion out there around what energy actually is and how it impacts our daily lives, right?
Yeah.
And with that, we saw that the gap in knowledge in between the energy business and the regular energy consumer is quite large. Energy is it's a fairly unsexy subject to talk about. You kind of just expect it to be there. You go into Starbucks or anywhere and you plug in your computer and you expect energy to just flow out of the sockets, and it does, right?
Yeah, of course.
You don't really have to think about it anymore. It's like, where is that energy from? How much does it cost? Stuff like that. Whilst when you get your cup of coffee, you'd never just jump behind the counter not paying for it and just take the coffee and go. So there's quite a lot of disparity in there with what energy does and how it affects us. And that's sort of the problem that we wanted to solve. We believe in that if we're able to bring people closer into energy and bring up that energy awareness, people are going to have a much easier time making more renewable choices, making smarter choices, and thusly also reducing the amount of carbon emissions related to energy production that's out there today. Very few countries in the world has less carbon producing energy grid. It's us here in the Nordics. There's a few countries that run primarily on nuclear, a few island countries, places like that. But a lot of countries are still very reliant on fossil fuels and different carbon emitting fuels for their energy production. And that is part of what we want to address with what we do.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. A lot of people do take it for granted, energy. And there's a lot of people who are sort of oblivious as to where it comes from, and as you say, just expect to go into various places in different walks of life and just expect it to be.
And I have to just add on to that. It's not that they're oblivious because people are in any way not aware and not cautious about it. It's just that it's a subject that's fairly it's not really talked about when we talk about sustainability, or it has been in later terms. But we've talked a lot about cars and car emissions. We talk a lot about flights and aviation and emissions from that. And it all ties back into sort of how do we produce our energy that powers our different vehicles, machineries, households, things like that. And naturally, the grid energy that goes into your house, the electricity, is a major part of it.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Thanks for that. If you could tell us a bit more about RenBloc's solution to the problem and what you're looking to do.
Yeah. So we set out with a sort of mission to provide people with this and what we call energy transparency. That is, exactly which type of energy you consume at any given point. Now, if you're like I am at this point, completely off grid in the Swedish forests, We run this cabin on solar panels and batteries. I can tell you with 100% certainty that the energy that powers the lights and stuff here are solar. This is like solar energy, right? But as soon as you connect to the grid, you're going to get some mix into your house, a mix of different energy sources. And what's important to keep in mind there, that mix is a constant ebb and flow depending on geographical location, naturally what's producing in your area, but also very, very natural factors. As you know, if the wind picks up and I'm close to the wind farm, then that wind energy is going to come and start flowing in. So we wanted to build a solution where we capture all of that and sort of calculate what the local grid mix is, what energy you get into your sockets. So we set out to build that. We built the first proof of concept about 3 years ago and tested it, and now we've launched in Sweden, Australia, Italy, Poland. We're on our way into Germany as well. Nice. And what we do is we use quite advanced algorithms and different data sources to pinpoint what energy you're getting into the socket that goes into your house from the grid. Yeah. And with doing that, we can also tell you how much of that energy is sourced from different carbon emitting sources, and to what percentage that is right now. I mean, keep in mind that since, again, it's an ebb and flow, the wind picks up, then maybe we don't need as much fossil producing energy at the time. Yeah. So we can use that and then counteract that, and that way shift to a more renewable consumption. It's interesting. Sweden is a country, as I said, our energy is based on hydro and nuclear, right? Which are two fairly carbon low emitting sources. Mm-hmm. But if you switch to other countries where you have a mix of natural gas, coal, things like that, they're all carbon emitting, but the carbon emitting factors are very different. So in that sense, you may become more sustainable, more renewable by targeting still a fossil fuel producing source, but something that's less carbon emitting. So it's all a matter of like keeping track of what is the best option right now, right? Yeah,
of course, and that could change in a few years, of course. Okay, brilliant.
Yeah, it will.
If you could tell us a bit more about the overall mission and vision, and where you might see yourself in maybe 3 to 5 years.
So our mission is, as I said, to advance energy awareness and energy transparency. And our vision is to build sort of that world where people have a better understanding overall for what energy is and how it affects our climate. In that sense, there's a lot of energy out there that's bad, right? There's not any energy out there that's not intrusive to the environment in any way, right? Wind farms take up a lot of space. Hydro plants dam up streams and destroy like natural habitats for a lot of different animals. There's a lot of minerals that goes into solar panels that needs to be mined from in a certain way that's also not very good for the environment. So there's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of factors to factor in. That said, all of those 3 renewable sources are also, way much better than any of the fossil producing sources we have. Yeah. And just keeping track of that and making sure that even though you may not make a 110% sustainable choice, you're making the choice that is the most sustainable, and you're able to have that discussion, and you have an informed discussion, and then you're able to debate it at a more educated and then higher level. And I also think that because there's a lot of people out there who are very, very interested in sustainability and are sustainably aware and sustainably cautious to an extremely high degree, right?
Yeah, agreed.
And I think there's a lot of people out there who are very interested in energy also, who are sustainable, but they just don't have those tools to sort of get into the energy discussion, because as I said, it's a semi-complicated, extremely unsexy topic.
Yeah.
So providing that sort of tool and maybe that incentive to get into energy is something that's also something that we want to do in this.
That's great. I think the more people that could get an insight and learn more about it, it's only going to benefit. So I totally agree.
Yeah.
Very much so. Well, look, thanks very much for taking the time today to speak to us and sharing insight as to what you guys at RenBloc are doing. It's fantastic, and hopefully we can have a series in the future. We can look back and reflect on this, and people will be a lot more better informed. Let's say, and there'll be a lot more transparency out there. But if there's anything else you'd like to add, Nils?
Please visit us at renbloc.com. If you have any further questions or anything, please reach out to us there. I'd love to have a discussion with anybody around this. This is what we do. Love to talk
Definitely.
about it. Thank you for having us.
Well, thank you. I can clearly see it's a passion of yours, and that's brilliant as well. But thank you very much for your time, and you take care.
Thank you, Jack. Thanks.